Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a little pendant using our Jessie James Beads Mini Mix Bing Cherry. Now, I've already opened this up. It's all laid out down below us here. And so let's get down and we'll see what we're going to do. I've got a few things back in the little dish, but I think what we're going to use for this is this little owl. Isn't it cute? And there's only one, so it's going to make a pendant. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the owl in the middle and loop this around like we would an earring. And then I'm going to put a second one around, which I'm going to use my mallet on and flatten out some. So I don't think I'm going to use any more of these beads I have out here. Maybe we'll use this flower, it's cute. So we'll put the rest of these back into our dish here so they're not in our way. We don't want to send them all flying. Whoop, little tiny beads going everywhere, which was sort of what I was afraid of. Now the one thing we got to make sure of is that this is going to fit on our wire we're going to use. All of these beads, because if they don't, we won't be able to use them. So this is going to make a little loop around the owl. I don't know if you can see it. Let me move it up closer to you. We're going to use this this relatively good sized red glass bead with these two silver bead caps on either side in the middle. Then we're going to put one of the glass pearls on either side of that. A crystal spacer, little teeny red beads, which are about exactly the same color as the one you're going to have in the middle. And then, if they will fit, these little silver triangles, and then these little tiny red flowers. So that's going to be one bar around the edge. Like I say, he's going to go hang in the middle here. And then we're going to put another one around the outer edge to make a sort of flattened ring. So let's get some wire out and we'll get started on this. Now I've got some 14 gauge out, which is what I'm going to use for our outer ring when I form it. I want to set that aside for right now because we're not going to do it yet. And then I'm going to use 18 to make our original link. Now the first thing I have to do is check my beads. Are they going to go on here? Looks like this one will. This little square silver one, maybe no. It feels a little too tight, so we will find something else to put in its spot. We'll put these back in the box. Don't want to lose that. I'll have to go find it. So it looks like all of these are going to fit, just not these little guys. So we'll put these back in the box and we'll get some other spacer to work with that spot. It was a pity because I really liked those little squares. So I'll be back in just, I've switched those little squares out for some little balls and that'll work just great. So now what we need to do is cut ourselves some wire. Now this side has a rough edge, so I'm cutting it off. And then I think we'll want about Now we got to remember our bead strand has to go around our owl. So I think we'll go about right here. And let's measure and see how much that's going to be. That's about 7.5 inches, which is maybe more than we need. But the first thing we're going to do is shape this baby. And I have got the wire mandrel, and we're just going to bring it around. And it's not going to stay there, and that's fine, because I didn't want it to. We're just going to tighten it up enough that it will form the circle. And as you can see, we don't need that big. The owl could be a lot smaller. So let's bring this down because we don't want it to be overly large. I think it'll be about right there will be good. So the next thing we need to do is twist our ends. But first we're going to, like I say, cut a little bit off of either side because we don't need that much. So I'm just going to cut off about 1/4 inch on either side. And we'll push it back up together. Now if it looks like one side's a little bigger, you can always trim that off. And I'm going to trim just a bit more here because it looks like it is. So there we go. Then I'm going to take my second size of my bell making pliers here and I'm going to roll a loop. Do the same on the other side, but actually we're going to wait because we need to put the beads on. But I think it's still too big. So I am going to roll it, and then I'm going to cut both loops off so that I have them the same length. This way I know, since I'm going to cut both loops off directly at the base of them, that we're going to be cutting off the same amount. So there are our loops cut off, and now we're going to do one of the loops, and then we'll see if it feels like it's about the right size for our little owl to sit in the middle of. And I think it will be. So now what we want to do is feed on our beads. Now if we had 2 owls, this would actually make a really pretty earring as well, but we do not have 2 owls, so we are just going to make this into a pendant. Now that we have our beads on, we'll twist our other side. Pull them together like so. Just take hold of either side and just push them together and wrap them so they go over each other. And it gains this shape more. And then our owl is going to hang in here. Isn't that cute? So now for the next step, and that is to take and make the outer ring. So we're going to get the 14 gauge out, and we're going to first of all cut off this bad point here. As you can see, when your flush cutters cut, the one side that is into the here makes this nasty sharp little notch right here, and you definitely want to cut that off. So we will cut that little notch right off, and then we're going to take this piece of wire and we're going to pull it apart some, and we want it to go along around the outside. So we want it to get it long enough that it will form a loop all the way around the outer edge of our earring. So we want, now this is going to have to form a loop on this side so that it goes over with this. So that will take at least that much. I want to come back around. I think we can be done at right here. Now this is one thing you're just going to have to pay attention to when you do it. To tell you a measurement would be not a good idea, because it wouldn't necessarily be that same measurement. Depends on how big we end up making our bottom loop. So what we want to do again is form the loops here. Now this one is not going to have any beads, so you can put both loops on at once. Now I need to form it in a way that I know it will go around this one, like so. So we're going to take our mandrel and work it a bit until we get that size we want out of it and the shape. That should be it about right there. And as you can see, it's going to hit right over these and then go like into a loop like so. So we're going to take our, now we're going to take our block and we're going to flatten this out some along the bottom edge and give it some texture. So here's my block. And here's my chasing hammer. Now this is going to be loud, so you'll probably want to turn down some. So what I want to do is flatten this, the bottom part at least, and then we can slim it as it goes up. We do want some flattening. I don't necessarily want it to be flat up there, but I do want it to be flatter. So as you can see, we've got this side going good. And as you can see, it's also bending out of place a bit, and that's all right. We're going to bend it back once it's done. So we will want it to bend back in shape. Okay. Give it a few more hammers here. Flip it over. Okay, now we're going to take the other side and give it a little texturing, just to give it a little more interest, you know. Now this is a chasing hammer. As you can see, it's a little rounded on that end, but not much, and then it's like a ball peen hammer on this side. And again, it's going out of shape. We will have to bend it back into shape. You really don't have to pound both sides because it's going to have a distinctive front and back on this pendant, obviously, because the owl's going to make it so. So I think we're pretty good here. So we'll put our block away. And then we're going to have to get our thing back into shape pretty much. And it's not too badly off, just a little bit. And the only reason we want it to be pulled apart some is because when we hook this together, it's going to hook, the rings of both are going to go together like so. And then the owl is going to hang down the middle. And then after we get this little pendant done, I think the only thing we're going to do is just put it on some chain. It doesn't need anything fancy because, let's face it, it is the fancy piece. So I need this apart just a little bit more, I think. So the next thing we need to do is get some jump rings and put this baby together. Okay, so I've gotten a bail out, a toggle for the end of our chain, some chain. I think I've got 22 inches. Let's see, 12, a little over 22, so that's good. And some big oval jump rings. So let's show, so the next thing we need to do, of course, is put this thing together. So in order to do that, grab jump ring, open her up, and now what we're going to do is we're going to get both of these rings into this jump ring, like so. And then we'll close her up. Do the same at the other side. Now one of these is going to go on the owl, and then the other one is going to put everything together. Put this on the owl right now. And then we'll get our other jump ring out and we will start putting things on it. So the first one we want to do is drop these down like this so they're hanging in a way that they won't twist when they go on. The owl will go on second. And we'll get our third one. And as you can see, the owl is going to be a lot higher than I want it to be. So we're going to put him, take him back off. We'll probably put him on a teeny bit of chain so he'll hang a little lower. In the meantime, we're going to put the rest of this together by hooking these two together, as you can see, like this. And then, under ordinary circumstances, I would put it on the, right now, onto our bail. But because of the way this is facing, we can't put it on the bail right now. The bail would be facing the wrong direction if we did. So what we're going to do, see here, If we put the bail on, it would be hanging this direction. So we're going to get another little jump ring to go between these two. And then we're also going, we could either do a little bit of chain or a little, another couple of jump rings to make a sort of link chain to hang our owl down a little higher, or further, I should say. So let's get a couple more jump rings out. We'll get to the that on, and we'll find a little chain to put onto our hang our owl down from, and we'll get finished putting it together. I've got a couple more little jump rings out, and we're going to take this big one off the owl right now anyway. We may add it back on later, but right now we're going to take it off. And what we are going to do, well, to start with, let's just put this guy onto its link or its bail. So open this one up, grab this top of the 3 here, and hook it on to a bell. So here is this piece, and what we're going to do is I'm going to take a piece of my chain, since it doesn't really need to be quite as long as I have it, and we're going to hook our chain to our owl. So we're just going to take out a couple links, like here. Notice this little piece is wanting to stick in here, so we're going to have to pull it out. There we go. Now this is the chain we're going to use to hold our pendant on, and this is our toggle. So what we want to do here is, first of all, we're going to take these little oval, smaller oval jump rings, and we're going to hook this little piece of chain on our owl. On she goes. We'll tighten this baby up. Now we need to see where this is going to hang. Because we're going up to that middle loop right there, it will be up there. So I think we just need a small jump ring to hang it rather than the large one we had before. So we will get us the small one on. Now this doesn't want to go in here. And I don't know why, because the other one went in fine. But since it is giving us problems, we're going to get our bead reamer out and just give it a couple of little twists, see if we can widen that up just enough to not be a problem anymore. Okay, now that we have this in, our only concern is when we hang this, is it going to, that little owl going to hang properly? So let's hook her up way up here and see if it is. So we close this baby back up. Grab it by the bell and hold on. And there we go. She's looking pretty good. Just the way we want her to. And she's hanging just perfect. Now, this has got this to the back I'm going to push it forward to the front because I prefer the chain to be in the front. No flippy flopping. And then our next step is to hook it onto its chain. That's all we got to do. So we will just thread this through here. Get out our jumprings. Grab our end of our chain. So now we've got just this on, so we'll just take one side of the toggle, put through the link, and close her up. Other side of the toggle, close her up. There is our finished little owl pendant. Isn't that cute? Hope you enjoyed making that with me. So let's turn up and we'll look at it a little better, shall we? So anyway, there is our beautiful little owl pendant made using our Bing Cherry Jesse James Beads mini mix. Isn't that cute? Now the wire I used, in case I didn't mention it, was 18 gauge German style wire and 14 gauge German style wire. Simple, but really cute. Hope you liked making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.